Africa has power. Well, that's what we're told. We are engrossed of stories of Shaka, warriors who rose to fame through bravery and conquer. We celebrate the African plain, the roars of lions and the soaring of eagles. Alas, we sold our soul and everything for hear this shiny piece of mirror. A shiny piece of coin made out of the same gold and silver buried underneath our land. Under the rule of our colonial masters, we became slaves in our own homes. Our worth took a hit just as much as our forefathers took slashes on their backs. And like a Nigerian movie plot twist, we realized our mess and thought, So we tracked our footsteps and back and chased for our victory, and we did. And all 54 nations of Africa regained their freedom from all their colonial masters. So you can argue that Africa Freedom Day is a reminder of Africa's journey and Africa's struggle and the continent's subsequent political liberation. Yet every year, our celebration is dubbed by different themes, representation of different chains that bind Africa's freedom. So, freedom is less of a state of being or destination, but rather a process, a journey, an engraving journey of continued liberation. And thus we speak in our school mind that we are free. Freed by the fire of our forefathers. And with the ember in our hands, we light and ignite the shadows of oppression. Let us speak, cast a spark in empty classrooms, and even those filled to capacities where teachers can hardly teach. And even as we celebrate education being free, Africa's education system is far from satisfactory. We still have inferior perception of women. The girl child, for the most part, faces the same struggle as her grandmother did. We are not divided by gender. We are united by humanity, Ubuntu. We need to free the woman off the shackles of the household and raising babies. The same babies that rise up to be youth yet still cling on to the same chains that bind their mothers. Africa. We are still bound by the chains of inequalities. The gap keeps getting larger and larger between the haves and the have-nots, the men and the women, the children and the society. The number of the marginalized can no longer be defined as the minority because many of us fit the description, and inefficient governments don't help much. There's a common belief that Africa is rich, but the mismanagement of its resources is what sponsors our poverty. We live in a paradox. But every day is hope that the beautiful African sun will rise. That in this journey of liberation we will get it right. And when we don't, we can bank on an education that fits the problems ahead. That one day we will encounter politicians who actually mean their words. That we will see youths that don't wait for the future but invest in the present and shoot for the stars. That men and women will stand side by side and raise the African flag as equals. That Africa will be great again, as it should be. And so, for the 18th time, Happy Africa Freedom Day.
Decades ago, freedom meant to be liberated from the chains of bondage and oppression. But since independence, the question remains, do our livelihoods truly reflect that freedom? Are we all able to acquire decent education, decent health care, proper water and sanitation? Are we all able to live dignified lives? Are we truly free when we continue to live in a mountain of debt as a nation? What does freedom truly mean to you and me today? Equality, inclusivity, economic independence should define true freedom.